Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the Vietnam War. The government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekly daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the massive breakout that's happening right now on Bitcoin, which is leading Bitcoin back above $100,000. Today, we're going to be talking about the corrective movement that we have seen over the last several weeks. We're going to talk about why I believe that corrective movement may be coming to its ultimate conclusion. And we're also going to be talking about why I believe that Bitcoin is going to be rallying all the way up to $125,000 very soon. We've already seen a 10% rally on Bitcoin over the last 7 days, and I do believe that that is going to continue. So today we're going to talk about not only where Bitcoin is right now, but also where Bitcoin is going in the near-term future. We're going to talk about the reasons that that is going to happen. We're going to talk about some altcoins, and most importantly, we're going to be talking about what our strategy should be right now in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ecosystem so that we can eke out as much profit as possible. Welcome to the show. If you are new here, my name is Jeb McAfee. I've been working in the cryptocurrency space for about the last 7.5 years, and it is my passion. It has always been my dream to help you guys succeed financially. I want you to have a good life, and that certainly doesn't have everything to do with money. We know that for sure, but a lot of what leads to having a life that is good is making sure all your ducks are in a row. Like, have you noticed that when your ducks are out of a row and your marbles are all gone and things are just stressful? You know, I have seen that there's a few things that really hinder somebody's ability to enjoy life. Their money's out of whack. They are bitter and they've got bad relationships because they won't forgive people of their mistakes, and they've got disorderly homes, right? I've seen people run through those things and just run in circles and in circles and in circles, and until they start getting some of that stuff figured out, there's going to be so much stress in your life that it's just difficult for you to function. Can you? Yes. Is it going to be easy and joyful, or at least happy? No, it's not. So I want to help you get your money right, and we're going to talk about exactly how to do that the responsible way in cryptocurrency today. I'm not going to clickbait you. I'm not going to tell you, your favorite meme coin is going to 1,000x tomorrow, right? Instead, we're actually going to apply sound money principles. We're going to apply sound investing principles, and we're going to do some technical analysis, short-term and long-term, to analyze where the market's going, how it's going to get there, and what we should be doing about it. So let's get started. Thing I always love to start off the stream with is reading chat. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone who has already tuned in. We've got Sean O'Brien in chat said right now. I love our outro music. Joe Boldier's in chat said, good morning, Jed. Pew Pew Poom 2 is in chat said, let's freaking go. Love coffee. Tundra said, never clicked on a notification this fast. There you go. Pew Pew Poom 2 said, bags been packed. Let's go. Same here. Zephania Jonathan said, hello from Indonesia. Shout out to Indonesia. Mike B in chat. GWSP in chat. Brian, Miguel, Kryptoni, James, Queen, Satchet, Daniel, Unanimous, and Drian, Billy Skills, Boschman, Elvin. There we go. $10 of Bitcoin is better than $100 of fiat. I disagree. I would rather have $100 of fiat than $10 of Bitcoin, so that I can go buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. All right, let's get started. Bitcoin is currently trading at $100,100, but I see what you're saying. You're saying $100 of fiat that you can't transfer into Bitcoin. Obviously, I got the joke. Bitcoin, even as we speak, you just saw it happen here live, has hit $101,000. We are on our way back up. Bitcoin is up, giving the page a quick refresh, about 10.5% over the last 7 days. We have now, as of just the last few minutes, eclipsed $2 trillion in market capitalization once again. The fact that we have broken $2 trillion market capitalization means that all bets are off, and there is a high likelihood of a strong rally coming as early as today. Ethereum has rallied quite a bit as well over the last 7 days. It is now trading at almost $3,700. We've got XRP sitting at $2.43, up 20% in the last 7 days. Solana up to $2.21, up 18% in the last 7 days. Dogecoin up 25% in the last 7 days. Cardano up 30% in the last 7 days. Avalanche up 26%. Sui up 31%. Chainlink up 19%. Stellar up 41%. I think we could call that a stellar performance. I had to do it. We've got Bitcoin Cash up only 10%. I wish it would go down 10%, but that's okay. Uniswap up 18%. Big fan of a lot of these coins that are pumping quite nicely. Let's go ahead and jump on over to our markets. As you can see down here on our line chart, Bitcoin is pumping quite aggressively even as we are live right now. As of just a few minutes ago, right before we went live, Bitcoin has been rallying up above $100,000. We breached $100,000 at 9:48 while I was getting the stream set up, and that is the first time in quite a while that we've been above $100,000. In fact, looking here at the hourly chart, the last time we were above $100,000 was when we were falling below $100,000 a week before Christmas. And so with Bitcoin breaking above 100K, again, that shows us that something serious is going on. Now, let's kind of partition out our technical analysis because it's really easy to get lost in the weeds of the TA. So let's make sure we keep some structure here. The first thing that we want to do is take a longer term view of the market from a technical and a fundamental standpoint. Let's start with technical. From a technical standpoint, Bitcoin has been on a 15-year-long bull market that stops for nothing, and we're just in the middle of this one. We know that Bitcoin rallies for 400 days post-election, or at least it has for the last 3 elections, the only 3 elections that have ever happened in the history of the Bitcoin market. If that were to occur again, then we'd be looking at the all-time high for Bitcoin and the bull market ending around December of this year, which means we are still very much in the thick of it with this bull market. We have not even fully gotten started yet. This shows up whenever you look at something like the stock to flow model. This shows up when you look at a lot of different models. Bitcoin is just getting started, and people say, oh, it's a logarithmic chart. There's diminishing returns. You're not going to be able to keep that up. Well, we didn't really quite get to the same top that we could have in the last bull market, so I think there's a lot of pent-up enthusiasm that has not been explored yet, and it's going to be. Looking at the daily chart, I also want to point out the MACD. The MACD has been on an absolute tear over the last 3 months. We've seen a huge amount of MACD divergence. We're in all-time high territory. But even down here on the daily chart, you can see that we've now seen a cross. If you'll recall, to last Thursday, we made a stream talking about this bullish MACD cross coming in on the daily chart. We said that is most likely going to lead Bitcoin That is most likely going to lead Bitcoin back up above $100,000 and into the stratosphere, and that's what's happened. If we look at the RSI and also our very own Crypto Jeb Oscillator, then what we're going to see is that the Crypto Jeb Oscillator is flipping bullish, which is phenomenal, and the RSI is moving to the upside as well. When you look on the daily chart, the interesting thing is, when you look on the daily chart, you can also see the same pattern, right? You can see this rounded bottom coming in here on RSI and also the exact same thing coming in here on the Bitcoin chart, which is obviously very encouraging. Now, we also want to talk a little bit about Lux Algo. What's going on with Lux Algo? As of today, we're looking at a buy signal. Lux Algo has been extremely accurate for a very long time when it pertains to Bitcoin. On some charts, actually, the Lux Algo buy signal plus trend catcher combination that we use is 100% accurate historically. Obviously, that doesn't mean it will always be 100% accurate, but so far, I believe it's on the weekly chart, it has literally never been wrong so far. And so when we look at the buy signal coming in here on the daily chart as of today, with Bitcoin being above $100,000, we have trend catcher green. That gives us a great deal of confidence that this is the real deal. Bitcoin needed a corrective movement. I think it's very plain to see that Bitcoin has now gotten that corrective movement. And the question now becomes, can Bitcoin maintain above $100,000? I think that we need to look at the fundamentals a little bit before we can dive into the shorter term TA, but on the surface, it looks very good. We've got the buy signal. We've got the MACD cross bullish. We've got the RSI moving above 50, which indicates that we are now in the territory of the bulls. We've got Bitcoin naturally being above $100,000. We've got a lot of volume, and we're going to look at a few other fundamental factors here as well. One of the first ones I want to look at is Farside Investors. If you guys don't know by now, this is a website that helps us to see the inflow and outflow of the Bitcoin ETFs. And we have taken a pause. The massive inflows that we've seen come into the Bitcoin ETFs have largely stopped. But that doesn't mean that they've stopped entirely. It just means that a lot of the people that were buying on in retail in these ETFs have kind of paused. But if we look at the last trading day, which was the 3rd of January, we saw almost $1 billion of inflows, which was one of the largest inflow days we've seen in a very long time. When we look at Ethereum, then we're also seeing here the massive amount of inflow coming in here on ETH has mostly stopped. So that kind of tracks over here on the chart. When you look at Ethereum here, Ethereum has been going on the upswing. It has been rallying quite aggressively. And when we look at that rally, we can see that we're now above the trend catcher, right? And so what we've seen happen on Bitcoin is now likely going to happen on Ethereum as well. We've seen the buy signal come in here on Ethereum. We have seen the buy signal. We see that the buy signal is likely going to be coming in here on Ethereum, and a lot of people don't realize that we're going to be seeing that buy signal coming in on Ethereum very soon. But I think that we will be. Now, a couple of other things that we want to consider is that we are very much likely going to be seeing the new administration coming in very aggressively on Bitcoin. Michael Saylor at his party and when he visited over at Mar-a-Lago with Eric Trump, they both talked about billions of dollars flowing into Bitcoin. We've talked about $1 million Bitcoin. The new administration has just, the people that are coming into the new administration, both in the Congress and also in the United States' executive branch, both the president and the rest of his staff, many of them are extremely bullish on Bitcoin, and most of them, I would say most of them, are very much pro-Bitcoin. And so that strategic national reserve for Bitcoin is very much likely going to be happening very, very soon, and that is going to catapult the price to the absolute moon. And when we see that occur, because I think it's more of a when than an if at this point, when we see that occur, what we're going to have happen is the altcoins are going to rally dramatically as well. So if Bitcoin is going to go on this massive run up to, honestly, by election day, I wouldn't be surprised if we rallied all the way up to $125,000. If that's the case, then what we're seeing happen is the altcoins are going to perform extremely, extremely well also. Why? Well, the altcoins do something fundamentally different than Bitcoin, but they also are fundamentally similar in the sense that they are competing with the traditional markets. People are freaking tired of the traditional ecosystem, the traditional financial world. They're sick of it. I mean, you see this all over X right now, right? And it totally makes sense. People are tired of working and having the Fed print away their money. Well, they're also tired of working and having the banks get all their money, because they get taxed into oblivion. They lose all their money from inflation, and then the money ends up going into the hands of the banks. People are tired of being slaves. People are tired of, in third world countries, they're tired of losing 25% of their money to international banking transfer fees. People in the first world, they're tired of having to pay the bank exorbitant interest rates when they could pay a lower interest rate by taking out loans in DeFi. People are tired of only making 4.65% in a high yield savings account when they can stake their coins and sometimes make 10, 12, 13, 14, 15%. People are sick of it. And it's becoming more apparent to people. We're just kind of watching the Bitcoin chart by minute here as we do, because Bitcoin's being quite interesting at the moment. It's becoming much more apparent that Bitcoin is going to be the way of the future, and people are also starting to realize that DeFi is going to be the way of the future, because Bitcoin sidesteps, and here's the point, here's the whole video in a nutshell, Bitcoin sidesteps the dollar. DeFi sidesteps the banks. That is something that people are starting to realize. Bitcoin does something fundamentally very similar to gold, but it does it better. DeFi does things fundamentally similar to banks, but DeFi does it better. I saw a post recently of someone in, I forget which nation they were in. I want to say Spain, but I'm not totally sure about that, so don't quote me. But they said that they wanted to withdraw 20,000, maybe it was in Britain, actually. I think it was 20,000 pounds. Yeah, maybe it was Britain. They wanted to withdraw 20,000 pounds from their bank account. And the bank told them, they cannot withdraw the $20,000 without telling them what the money's for. What are you going to do with the money? He said, that's none of your business. It's my money. Give it to me now. And they said, no, we cannot give it to you unless you tell us what the money's for. Guys, society is on the verge of collapse. We have the degradation of the West is accelerating at a far more rapid pace right now than we have seen in modern history. And people see that coming. The reason that that's happening is because the church is in retreat, because people are not willing to follow Christ. You think about it, you think, oh, well, man, why do people steal? God teaches us not to steal. There's no one else that teaches you not to steal except God. God teaches not to lie. There's no one else that teaches you not to lie except God, right? So when the church is in retreat, society collapses. You can thank Christianity for the prosperity of the modern world. But with the church in retreat, people are realizing, oh my goodness, man, everything's falling apart. What in the world do we do about this, right? The inflation's out of control. Prices are sky high. We've got, just chaos in the streets. The government's too big. Just all kinds of problems. What do we do about this? And so there's this. It's not even really a movement anymore. It's almost the countercultural mainstream idea that society as we know it is falling apart. What do we do about that? And so the answer to that question for many people in the financial context is buy Bitcoin, is use DeFi. The answer to that in the modern context when it comes to where you live is go do homesteading, homeschool your kids. All these traditional ideas that we've known for 6,000 years work, but for some reason in the last 100 years, we've deemed it as abusive. People are saying the way that the world is going right now, I'm good. I'm just going to check out of that. I'm going to do something else. And so when people approach that issue that the world is racing towards collapse faster than we've seen in a very, honestly, gosh, when was the last time that I love my history? When was the last time that we saw the West, Europe and North America heading towards societal collapse like this? Probably the bubonic plague. Probably the plague. Yeah, that's what, 600 years ago? Yeah, that was probably the last time that we saw society collapsing the way that it is right now. You might say the Second World War, but yeah. So anyway, people are tired of it, and people want an alternative. And so Trump realizes that, and whether you like Trump, don't like Trump, whether you think he's honest, don't think he's honest, I don't really care. I don't really care about your opinion on that. And you don't really care about mine. So let's just be honest with each other. I don't care what you think about it. What I do think, and what I do think is true, is that Trump realizes that his base, the people that voted him in, think that. And I think he realizes that if he wants to stay popular and go down in the history books like he wants to, and have the impact that he said he's going to have, he's got to lean into, hey, society's not working the way that it should. We got to fix this. Well, what do we do about that from the monetary standpoint? Well, boom, Bitcoin right there. So when you tie in the cultural element, people are thinking society is on the verge of collapse. Society is going down flipping hill. And people say to themselves, the money, the entire international banking system, the monetary system, our currency, it's all going downhill. When people realize that, they turn to Bitcoin. When Trump realizes that and he rides into office, because there's a lot of people that feel that way. I'm not saying that everybody that feels that way voted for Trump, but a lot of them did. When you have someone go into office like that, then they're going to probably push Bitcoin, which is why he said he's going to do it. So I totally believe him that there's going to be a strategic national reserve for Bitcoin. I don't think there's any. It would be completely surprising to me if it didn't happen very quickly. If it doesn't happen day one by executive order, the only reason that I think it's not happening on day one by executive order is because Trump is going to try and pass it through Congress, so it's a more powerful act, and it's not just an executive order. That's the only reason why I could see it not happening on day one, is if they try and send it through Congress, which honestly, that's what they should do, because it would pass. We've got 158 Democrats over there that are apparently, insane, standing in the way. Press 1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about there. But otherwise, we've got, there is a Republican majority in the House and the Senate, which would probably pass the Bitcoin, the Bitcoin bill that Cynthia Lummis has put forward. So that's all on its way. And people realize that, which is why Bitcoin is rallying right now. People realize the problem and the solution. I've told people for a very long time, if you want to make money in a capitalistic society, find a problem and solve it. Find a problem and solve it. We just went and bought a minivan because our little tiny Camry was getting too small. Bye-bye, Camry. We got a good deal for it. We love the Camry. It was so sad to see it go. But we got a minivan. I love it. You can make fun of me all you want. Y'all out here buying Lambos? Pfft, I got 3 kids. I'm richer than you. I got a minivan. This thing's freaking awesome. It's like a jet. It's so cool. It's just top. It's sweet. It's so freaking cool. And you know, when we're there at the dealership buying this minivan, you know, they point out a problem. Hey, you know, you're driving a minivan. You got 3 kids. What happens if the transmission goes out? That's like $7,000. Here, buy this powertrain warranty. And I'm like, I'm good. It's a pretty new minivan. That's not going to happen. And then they said, oh, but take it half price. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll do that. I'll take that. They pointed out a problem that I didn't think about, and then they solved it. And then when I was like, I think I'm good, then they took half price off. That's what's going on with Bitcoin right now. That's what's happening with Bitcoin right now. The Bitcoiners of the world, you, me, and at this point, Donald Trump, his family, and everybody in his camp is pointing out there's a problem in the world. Say it with me. Your currency sucks. Your money is terrible. It doesn't hold value. Have you seen the central bank balance sheet? USC BBS. I did not have my coffee the other day and I could not remember the name. It's USC BBS, the United States Central Bank balance sheet. They added $9 trillion to the balance sheet in less than 20 years. They added $5 trillion to the balance sheet in less than 3. The Fed can snap their fingers and eradicate the value of your currency. CPI, the Consumer Price Index. See if I can find it. Right, I can't find it. The Consumer Price Index. You look at the US CPI. The value of the dollar by CPI data, which is the official data, which is baloney, has shown a 20% reduction in the value of the dollar since the beginning of the Biden administration. Actually, it's probably like 30. And that's just what they're reporting, which, as we know, is complete and utter horse manure. Trump, me, you, most of the alternative media, which is now becoming the actual media, know there's a problem and are pointing it out to the world. And the world responds in kind and says, you're right. That is a problem. Our currency sucks. We can't afford crap anymore. What are we going to do about it? We are going to say that the dollar is no longer trustworthy to store our currency in. We are instead going to store our currency in Bitcoin because it is hard currency. And so that's why Bitcoin's breaking above $101,700 right now. And that's why it's going to go to $125,000 soon. So we looked at some technicals. We looked at some fundamentals. Those were the fundamentals. You can call them opinion if you want, but it's the fundamental. It happens to be my opinion, but we're not looking at my opinion. We're looking at the opinion of a couple 100 million Americans that are sick and freaking tired of not being able to afford groceries, right? So if you're the one person from the mainstream media that thinks everybody else is imagining it, and you're the one making $500,000 a year writing blog posts, have fun. You're the only one that doesn't see what's going on out here. Everybody else does. And everybody else is freaking tired of it. And so that's why Bitcoin is succeeding. Because there's a perceived problem. The currency is not stable. It does not hold its value. It's like trying to catch the wind. You cannot do it. It's like trying to hold water in your open fingers. You cannot do it. It's like trying to eat soup with a fork. It's impossible. And people are frustrated. You know where frustration comes from? Trying to control something that you should be able to control and not being able to control it. Why do you walk into your living room and get frustrated that there's stuff everywhere? Because you're supposed to have it clean. You're supposed to be the one in control of it, and you're not, so you're frustrated. Why do you get frustrated with yourself? Because you're not acting the way you should, and you know you ought to be better than you are, and you get frustrated at yourself. Why are people frustrated about the United States dollar? Because it's supposed to be able to store their value, and it doesn't, and people are rightly frustrated by that. There is a perceived problem, and there is a solution, and you're looking at the solution charted on your screen right before you. I've been telling you this for almost a decade. I've been shouting this from the rooftops since I was 16 years old. Those of you that have listened have profited. Those of you that have not have stayed on the sidelines and missed out. So make a decision. Are you going to try to understand Bitcoin? Take a long-term approach, because my friend, Bitcoin is great on the upside. It sucks on the downside. You can watch 20, 30% of your net worth get evaporated like that in Bitcoin, because it is still very volatile. We're young. But if you're willing to do what we've done and buy Bitcoin and hold it for months, years, nearly a decade now, you will be glad you did. So with all this said, let's talk about what the actual picture looks like in Bitcoin and the altcoins. That's kind of where I want to go with this. I want to talk about what the near-term future looks like. The near-term future on Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is most likely in the very beginning stages of this rally. We've barely moved at all. We've gone through about 2 weeks of correction. We've been trading sideways for a while. Both of those events are going to cause this rest. It's going to create this rest in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to feel more rested, more ready to run. Right? Bitcoin's like a triathlete, like a marathon runner. It can run very fast and it can run very far, but it is still in need of rest sometimes. And so that's what it needed. It needed rest. And we've gotten that through the end of November, pretty much all of December. Now we're moving into January. Everybody said January is going to be a sell month. I don't know. I'm not so sure. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll find out. But over the month of January, by the end of the month of January, I think you're going to see Bitcoin rallying up to about $120,000 to $125,000. A lot of that's going to have to do with the election of President Donald Trump and some of the things that happened during the first couple of weeks of his presidency. From there, we'll see what happens in the future. But I think you're going to see at least a 10 to 25% rally over the next month on Bitcoin. Forecasting a very strong month. We've got this strong correction. We're far away from the uptrending level of resistance that we've been respecting. We've got the buy signal on the daily chart for Lux Algo. It's all lights green. Everything's green. Everything's good to go. The altcoins are doing well as well. So we've got momentum there. Next month on Bitcoin looking very, very strong. $125,000, where's that number coming from? It's the next big even. It also happens to be the top of this uptrending level of resistance right around the time that Trump gets inaugurated / the end of January. So the next 4 weeks, we're looking at what's likely to be a rally of approximately 20% or so. And, I also should mention the most powerful reason why we should also mention the most powerful reason why Bitcoin is going to rally, and that is that recently Jim Cramer came out and said that Bitcoin was going to crash to $90,000. So that's how we know that Bitcoin is going to rally. Also, as you guys know, yesterday MicroStrategy posted a picture of the sailortracker.com, said that this is looking a little bit too small, and today they, according to the report that I'm seeing right here, acquired another 1,070 Bitcoin. Whew! 1,000 Bitcoin in a day. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely insane. Okay, so let's do a little bit of extra technical analysis on Bitcoin here. One of the things I want to look at here are the moving averages. As you can see, the moving averages are performing very well. We've got our bullish alignment of moving averages mostly locked in. We had our bearish alignment. We had a bearish alignment motion right here, where the 20 daily simple moving average crashed below the 50 daily simple moving average, but that is likely going to reverse very soon. So we're okay with that. Otherwise, the moving averages are looking fine. The 20 EMA, which is our most important moving average, has now been broken. We were below it for a while, indicating bearish strength. So far, we've rallied above it. We rallied above it for a couple of days here, and then we've kind of bounced off of it over the last 24 hours or so. So that is very encouraging as well. Our Bollinger Bands obviously have been getting very tight. We're rallying up here to the outside band of the Bollinger Bands, which means that Bitcoin is performing better right now than it has in several weeks, and that performance is likely going to continue. Now, we also want to do a little bit of Fibonacci retracement here, Fibonacci extension, I'm sorry here. As you can see, when we're talking about 120 to 125, we're also looking at Fibonacci levels here, 1.5 to 1.618. 1.5 is sitting at 118,000. 1.618 off of this correction that we just saw is sitting at $121,000. So that kind of lines up with our prediction relatively soon of Bitcoin going to about $120,000 to $125,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our other Fibonacci levels, some of our longer term fib levels. One of the fib levels we want to talk about here is the level up here of about 170, right? 170 seems really far off in the distance right now, but it's really not. We've seen Bitcoin's Fibonacci levels play out pretty well here, right? We saw a great deal of trading around these Fibonacci retracement levels. I see no reason why the extension levels won't also be similar. Our next Fibonacci extension level is 1.618 at $170,000 on the logarithmic chart. On the regular chart, obviously, it's quite a bit lower. On the regular chart, we're already sitting here right below 1.618, right? 1.618 here on the Fibonacci level is $100,000. This is where we always said $100,000 was going to be a big level that Bitcoin was going to go to this cycle. We always talked about Bitcoin going to 100 this cycle. People thought we were crazy, but it happened, right? $100,000 was hit. Our next big level, 2.618, is sitting up here at $153,581. Well, Jeb, that's insane. Bitcoin's not going to go to $153,000. My friend, you'd be surprised. If we look at Bitcoin versus SPY performance per year. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find the chart that I'm looking for. I think I can find it right here. Yeah, when you look at the S&P 500 versus Bitcoin, it's pretty apparent. It's pretty apparent. You know, we invest in the S&P 500, but we pretty much all we do right now in the S&P 500 because Bitcoin's just so, I mean, the future for it is just so incredibly obvious. We basically just max out our retirement accounts, and that's about it. Right, in the last 11 years here, from 11 to 24, $10,000 in the S&P 500 turned into, and this is pretty nice, into $63,000. Not bad, not bad. It's a compound average growth rate, a CAGR, of 15%. Not bad. It's really not. That's a great return. S&P has been great. Bitcoin was 100% compound average growth rate. You know, in $10,000 invested in Bitcoin in 2011 would now be worth $120 million. Yeah. When we look at the annual returns, this is a big one. Let's look at the last 5 years. In 2023, SPY returned 26%. Very bullish year. Bitcoin returned 155.68%. Very bullish year. In 2022, SPY returned negative 18%. Bitcoin returned negative 64%. This is where if you do not have a long-term perspective on Bitcoin, you're not mature enough to be here, so leave. I love you. I want you to stay, but grow up. Okay, cool. All right, nice. I just love offending people. I'm just kidding. I don't like offending you guys, but sometimes we do need to make things very obvious, very clear. If you do not have the maturity to withstand Bitcoin's corrections because they are deep, then you do not have the maturity to be here during its rallies. You just don't. 2021, Bitcoin rallies 59%, SPY rallies 28%. 2020, Bitcoin rallies 304.45%, SPY rallies 18%. 2019, Bitcoin rallies 94%, SPY rallies 31%. Does this mean that Bitcoin is a better asset than the S&P 500? Not necessarily. It does something fundamentally different, and it's also at a different stage of its life cycle. Bitcoin is far younger than the S&P 500. S&P 500 is at least twice Bitcoin's age, and the S&P 500 is actually tracking the United States stock market, which is about 10 times Bitcoin's age. So it is natural that Bitcoin is going to rally and crash faster than the SPY. One, because it's younger and smaller, so it's going to be less volatile because it's easier to move a smaller ship, because Bitcoin's market capitalization is way smaller than SPY. It's like 5% of SPY, so it's obviously going to move a lot quicker. But secondarily, it's also not as ingrained into modern society in the sense of people have money locked up there that's going to sit there for 40 years in retirement accounts. People are a lot more short-term minded on Bitcoin, and I wish they weren't, because if they weren't, they'd do better. Quit being short-sighted with Bitcoin. Buy it, hold it, forget about it, wake up in 10 years, be a millionaire. I mean, come on, the chart doesn't lie, guys. If you put, let's look at 10 years back. If you put in, let's see, where is this? This is November of 2024. November of 2014. In November of 2014, if you put $471,000 in Bitcoin, in November of 2014, 10 years to the day later, you would have $120 million. What's that, a 600x? Is that going to happen again? No. Has it happened before? Yes. So what's the point? Buy it, hold it, leave it alone. Buy it, hold it, leave it alone. Buy it, hold it, freaking leave it alone. Last 10 years, the average return has been 74% per year. Last 5 years, 66.4% per year. Bitcoin, when I do my future calculations of what our portfolio is going to look like, I plug in a 25% compound average growth rate, which is very aggressive, but I really think that's going to be feasible. I mean, it's really simple. Watch this. Investment calculator. Let's say you get to 0.1 Bitcoin. That's something that a lot of you guys could reach if you tried. Let's say you get to 0.1 Bitcoin. That's worth roughly this much, $10,180 right now. After 10 years, if you have a 25% return rate and you compound that, let's just say monthly, and you put no additional contribution in there, in 10 years, that $10,000 becomes $120,000. Now, let's say we buy one Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is worth this much right now. That's our starting amount. Every month, let's say we DCA $30 a day into Bitcoin. That's $900 a month. This is something that you guys that are a little further ahead could actually achieve, right? And you do that for 10 years. You're looking at $1.6 million, and you're starting with 100K. Let's go a little further. Let's say you got 2 Bitcoin, right? Let's say you got 2 Bitcoin, and you're doing $150 a day, $4,500 a month. Calculate. You're looking at $5 million in 10 years. And you're starting out with 200 grand. Sure, go play around in altcoins. That's fine. But the people that invest in Bitcoin for the long run are the people that are going to make true money. Now that we understand Bitcoin's probably going to about $125,000 soon. We also want to talk a little bit about alts because they're performing very well. What should we be looking at right now? Well, obviously, I hope you have a lot of your positions built, as we do. But one of the things you ought to be looking at is Ethereum. I think Ethereum is massively undervalued. If you go to DeFi Llama Drama, you can see that the total value locked on Ethereum is rallying quite dramatically. It has not hit its previous levels, but the entirety of DeFi has not hit its previous levels either. So it's sitting right there doing well. It's got $71 billion in total value locked. There's a lot of growth going on Lido, Aave, EtherFi, Binance Staked ETH, Uniswap, all these different chains. A lot of revenue, a lot of fees, a lot of TVL growth, just all of that. People are making a substantial amount of money in DeFi right now. So where should we be looking in DeFi? Well, in DeFi right now, obviously, we want to pay attention to Ethereum. Ethereum is doing very well. Ethereum is obviously slower. It's obviously going to be slower from transaction throughput, from fees, block time, from even from growth of the price. But it's established. And I really want to encourage you guys to take a long-term perspective. And one of the things you need to do to take a long-term perspective is make sure the coin that you're going to buy is still going to be there. Have you noticed that when you buy something and it's not there anymore, you don't have money? Have you noticed that when you buy something and it goes down, you lose your money? And next thing you know, the influencer that created the coin that you're using is sitting on a beach somewhere wearing what? Say it with me. Your money. Instead of doing that, consider that wealth gained by vanity will soon be diminished, but wealth gained by labor shall increase. That's what the Bible says. Wealth gained by vanity will soon be diminished, but wealth gained honestly, responsibly, consistently, disciplined over time will increase. Pick assets that are proven, and that are proven, and that are proven, and that are proven. Ethereum is going to do very well. Solana is going to do very well. Cardano is going to do very well. This is not a very exciting channel. That's why more people don't watch it, because I tell you the same thing every day. And you know what happens? The people that stay here and are like, oh, you put me to sleep, but you know what? He's right. Those are the people that are making money right now. And the people that don't listen to me because they're looking for that next altcoin. They're looking for the next meme coin. Because there's 15, 20 times as many people in crypto that are just looking for the next get-rich-quick scheme. Well, you know what the Bible says. Wealth gained by vanity will soon be diminished. What does vanity mean? What's it? A biblical definition of vanity. The AI overview defines it this way. In the Bible, vanity is also used to describe something that is empty, fleeting, or evanescent. It can also be something that is false, wicked, or idolatrous. The Hebrew word for vanity, hevel, can be translated as vapor or breath. So what does that mean? If wealth gained by vanity is soon be diminished. Wealth gained without a purpose, foolishly, sinfully, without integrity, without research, wealth gained that does not involve actual knowledge, wisdom, understanding, wealth gained in a way that is not becoming of a Christian, that is not godly, you're going to eventually lose it. That's not an if statement, that's a promise. Wealth gained by vanity will soon be diminished. Not sometimes, all the time. That is an all the time statement. It will all the time be diminished. The only way that you're going to keep wealth is by giving your life to the Lord Jesus Christ, following him and repenting of your sins and being saved, for one, because otherwise you're going to lose it when you die. You're still going to lose it when you die, but at least you'll carry your righteousness that you've learned from Christ into heaven, and you'll be rewarded for that. But the wealth that is gained by stealing, you're going to go to prison, hopefully. Wealth gained by, get-rich-quick schemes, you may have gotten rich once, but then you're going to get so confident that you go and do it again, you lose all your money. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The Bible talks about get-rich-quick schemes, right? We've got to be careful about trying to get rich quickly. You see, the thing about Proverbs 13:11, wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Proverbs 13:11. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. And we've seen that happen in our life. I went from having no money to millionaire in like 24 months. I had no freaking clue how to manage it. No idea how to manage it. This is all tying into altcoins. Hang on. I had no clue how to manage it. No idea. Because I went from 0 figures to 7 figures in like 2 years. And you know what happened? It was gained dwindling. It was gained hastily, and it dwindled. I lost it because I didn't know how to manage it. I didn't know how to make good financial decisions with it. So I lost a lot of it. And now we're in this process where we're gaining little by little. Now, we're growing a lot faster than most because of the career I'm in, and I'm very grateful for that. But we're growing steadily. It's not all at once. It's okay, every month we make a little bit of progress. Every month we make a little bit of progress. Every month we get a little better. Every month we get a little better. Every month we get a little better. It's not just a windfall came in. It's that I'm trying to make sure that every part of my character, every part of my integrity, every part of my life is where it should be. Little by little, I am growing, and little by little, our wealth is growing as well because of that. And so, why do I mention all of that? Well, if wealth gained by vanity will soon be diminished, and if wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but he that gathers little by little shall increase, then that means that we should not be seeking to get rich tomorrow. Because if you had the spiritual maturity to manage that much money tomorrow, you would already probably have it. Have you noticed that it takes time to grow? Have you noticed that it takes 9 months for a baby to be born? No more, no less. The baby could come a month early, but that baby's going into NICU. The baby could come a month late, but the mother's probably going to die. A baby comes in 9 months. If it comes in a different amount of time, there's an issue there. Have you noticed that it takes about 18 to 20 years for a human being to finish their bodily maturity? Someone's not, physically matured when they're 12, when they're 5. And no, it doesn't take them until they're 80. No, it's about 20 to 25 years old when the development of their body completes. It takes time. It takes a very specific amount of time, actually. And it's the same thing with us. You can't snap your fingers and tomorrow know everything there is to know about money and how to manage it. It just doesn't work that way. Can God impart a miracle on you? Yes. Does he? No, because he makes you go and learn, makes you put the work in. So the better strategy is to say, instead of trying to find the next best meme coin and getting rich tomorrow because I have no patience, the better thing to do is to say, God, how can I grow little by little? Because that's what you said lasts. How do I grow not all at once, but over time in a way that lasts? And how do I learn how to manage this? Well, the way that we do that is we buy assets that we reasonably expect will be worth more in 5 to 7, 10 years than they are right now. This is where now God's not talking, Jeb's talking, but I'm trying to apply his wisdom. The way that we want to do this is we want to say, what are some assets that we can buy into and invest in little by little, not trying to get rich tomorrow, but over time by applying a system and a strategy, it will reap massive rewards. People are like, oh, well, Jeb, 25% is not enough. Well, guess what? Bitcoin's probably going to massively beat that. Bitcoin, by the end of 2040, I anticipate will be trading at $5 million. That is a 50x in the next 15 years. If that's not good enough for you, then you have an income problem or a greed problem. And the reason I speak so sharply on that is because I've been that way before, and it's dangerous. It's toxic, and you've got to be careful. Life ain't all about money, guys. That's why this channel is not necessarily about you financially prospering. It's actually about you having financial sovereignty, which will lead to the correct kind of prosperity if you get the sovereignty right. God did not say in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, go ye therefore and be rich. He said, subdue the earth and have dominion over the fish of the sea and the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Have control. He didn't necessarily say prosper. He said have control, and that may bring prosperity. The prosperity gospel is what we call a heresy. So how do we apply that to our altcoins? We want to pick good altcoins that are proven. What are some altcoins that are proven? Well, in the DeFi space, Ethereum and Solana are the two that are proven. Everything that's anything is basically built on ETH and Solana. Oh, well, Jeb, Solana goes down. Oh, man, but Jeb, Ethereum went down that one time, right? It got the hard fork on ETH. You know, all your wealth is in Vitalik's hands. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett became partners in, I think it was the 1950s. Before they came to be partners, Buffett's idea was just buy the next best thing. Buy a tiny company. Buy the smallest company you could and put all your money into it. And Charlie Munger, and what would happen is a lot of times he'd lose all his money because he was buying penny stocks. And he was good enough at it that he was actually having some degree of success. But it wasn't the kind of success that he wanted. Munger came along, rest in peace, and Charlie Munger came along and told him basically, you know, instead of buying good companies that are tiny, buy great companies that are already large. And so Charlie Munger ends up buying companies that you still know. Warren Buffett ends up buying companies that you still know the name of today. Coca-Cola. You know, he bought the railroad stocks. He bought all these kind of different stocks that were the great. He found an industry and he bought the best in that industry. And people laughed him to scorn because, oh, you're going to miss out. We're going to have a bigger return. And guess who's still in business? Guess who's worth $100 billion? The guy that said, I'm okay with just doubling what the S&P 500 can do. But at the time, it wasn't the S&P 500, it was just the DJI because S&P didn't exist yet. But I'm okay with just doubling that. Every year. The guy's worth $100 billion. He doesn't run a particularly big company. He's just a massive investor. Berkshire Hathaway is just a giant real estate investment company. He's got a net worth of $142 billion. In the multitude of counselors, men shall go to war. You want to succeed with money? Go learn from old people that know what they're doing. Warren Buffett doesn't know everything. There's many areas that he's right. I'm not even sure if he knows the Lord. I hope he does. I hope he knows Christ. I don't think so. I don't know. He's got that wrong if he doesn't. But he's got that right. Buy the right company and hold it for the long term. Oh, but Jeb, I don't have enough money. That's okay. Jesus says, if you are faithful in little, you'll be faithful in much. If you can be faithful investing and living on your $10,000 and being generous with it, then that means that you'll probably be faithful with $100,000. And the people around you will see that, and they will exalt you, and they will promote you. If you can be faithful flipping burgers, then maybe you'll become the manager of a McDonald's, and maybe one day you'll own the thing. If you can be faithful being an accountant, maybe you'll get partnership, and eventually maybe when the CPA that founded the place retires, maybe you'll inherit it. Maybe you'll get a good buy option for it. You can grow. You can grow where you are, most likely. And if not, move. If you can't grow where you are, you shouldn't be there. The reason I love my job so much is I can grow as much as I want. If I wanted to just work 90 hours a week, I could take the channel off to 1 million subscribers in the next 2 years. Could totally do that. I'm not going to do that because I have a family and I would rather spend time with them. But, you know, I'm in an area that I can grow. So how do we apply this to altcoins? I know I'm starting to ramble a little bit. The way we apply this to altcoins is we say, what are the good altcoins? What are the ones that are proven in each individual space? And we quit trying to say, oh, I'm just going to get the next best thing. I don't mind if you play around with 5 or 10% of your portfolio, but quit fiddling around with your life savings. Jeb, you're hitting too close. You're hitting too close to home here, Jeb. You're hitting too close to home here, Jeb. This is me. I'm just out here buying altcoins all day long. Stop. Or the tiny little trash coins. There are some great projects down there. There are. But you've got to also understand when something is not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in its specific use case, it is extremely risky. And you can only take so much risk before you get knocked out of the game. You've got to take a calculated amount of risk. And you've got to base your portfolio on things that are not highly risky. So please, when we're talking about altcoins, let's keep the majority of our portfolio in coins that work well. The ones that the inexperienced traders and investors in the space will call dinosaurs. If someone who has been in the space for 6 months is calling it a dinosaur, buy it. Because I've been in the space for half of its entire existence, and I know what I'm talking about, and I'm telling you the correct wisdom, so do it. Invest in assets that you reasonably expect will be worth more in the future. Reasonably. You cannot give me a reason that you expect an asset that was created yesterday will be worth more in the future than it is now because you have nothing to go on. So invest in assets that actually make sense. So what are those? In my book, Ethereum is a great one. Solana is a great project. It has achieved number 2. It is the second largest layer 1 DeFi DApp platform. XRP is doing very well. Binance is doing very well. It will continue to do so. Cardano is doing very well. Cardano is kind of competing. It's number 3. It's on the outside of the walls, right? Solana and Ethereum are going back and forth. They're the big shark and the other big shark, and they're just like Coca-Cola and Pepsi saying, hey, you want to buy it over here? Yeah, I'll take a bite over here. And they're just enjoying each other's company. Cardano's trying to break in. So that's where you can say, like, hey, I'm gonna bet on the underdog, Cardano. There you go. Chainlink is a no-brainer. It's the only thing in the ecosystem that does what it does on anywhere near the scale that it does it. Chainlink is an obvious pick if you're trying to build out a portfolio. How's it going to do? Great. That's how it's going to do. Chainlink is probably going to go to $75 this cycle, if not more. I mean, honestly, it very well may go to more. That wouldn't even be a very large market cap. Let's see. Polkadot. Polkadot is a great project. There's Internet of Things is becoming huge, right? Stellar is doing something kind of similar to XRP, and it's doing pretty well. So it's growing a lot. Uniswap. Oh, but Jeb, that's a dinosaur exchange. Yeah, well, you know what? I call that a mass adopted exchange. It's up 20% in the last 7 days. It's one of the biggest decentralized exchanges in the entire world. Internet Computer. Nothing else doing what Internet Computer does, at least not on its scale. Great pick, in my opinion. Render. Nobody else doing what Render does. Render is like basically a one of a kind. It's going to most likely do very well. Aave, one of the biggest lending protocols. We have Aave. Jeb, Aave's a dinosaur. Good. Buy dinosaurs. Buy the dinosaurs. Go buy the dinos. People get this wrong. They're like, I need to When you're building a portfolio, there are 2 variables you can change. 2 major variables you can change. You can change the compound average growth rate, the CAGR, and you can change the actual amount invested. People focus so much on getting an extra 1% a year that they neglect the fact that the thing that actually is going to make the difference is how much money they invest. People that are wise with investment, they realize it's not all about the return. It is about the return, and get the best return you can. I would rather you be investing in Bitcoin right now than putting everything in US stocks. Totally would rather you do that. Where people go wrong is they only focus on the return and they don't focus on the income. They think that they can work at McDonald's making $12.50 an hour and they're going to get rich. I don't care what your return is. That's not going to happen. If you don't have the skills to make more than $12.50 an hour, then don't try and tell me that you have the skills to pick the perfect altcoin. You don't. Or else you'd be making more money working on Wall Street, making $400,000 a year. So figure out how to get a bigger income. Figure out how to increase your savings rate. Invest as much as you can into Bitcoin. People call me the Dave Ramsey of crypto, and I'm totally fine with that. I have a world of respect for Dave Ramsey. I'd love to meet the guy. If anybody knows him, give me a shout out. I'd love to shake the man's hand. I got a lot of respect for him. He's wrong on Bitcoin, and I hope that he understands that he's wrong one day and changes his tune. He is kind of moving in that direction, but hopefully he completes the tune change there, right? He needs a tune up. I don't mind being called that. I'm not trying to be Dave Ramsey. I'm trying to follow the Bible and what Christ says. And obviously, Ramsey and I have a lot of the same source material. But one thing you're going to see from this channel, and you've seen it for years, and you're going to continue to see it, is that I am not interested in helping you find the next altcoin. This is not your channel for that. This is not your channel for that. This is a better channel than that. Because I'm going to teach you how to actually build wealth over time. And the way you do that is with the right sound money principles, and you do it for a long time. And you quit trying to get rich tomorrow because that's your ego and your pride and your greed and your idolatrous and behavior that is not going to lead you down to the promised land that you think it will. Having an extra zero in your bank account will not make you much happier. It may help. It may help. It may help. It may relieve stress. It may allow you to hire someone to help you with whatever. It may allow you to have more peace. It may allow you to have more peace of mind, more stability, right? But unless you get what's in here right, you're up a creek. You're up a creek. You got to get the heart right. Proverbs 4:23. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issues of life. What is diligence? What is issues? Diligence means we're working at it on a daily basis. What are issues? Good and bad. You got a promotion? Where'd that come from? Out of the heart, out of your heart. Not follow your heart, lead your heart. God, I hate it in movies when they say, oh, just follow your heart. If I follow my heart, it'd lead me off a freaking cliff. My heart's deceitful above all else, is what the Bible says. I've got to lead it and be diligent to keep it. My heart doesn't lead me, I lead it. We've got to keep our heart in check. It will lead us in the right path if we lead it in the right path. How do we do that in this case? The way we do that in this case is we say, I am not necessarily interested in getting rich tomorrow. I am interested in having the right principles, the right habits, the right practices that are going to lead me to being ridiculously wealthy in the long-term future. I'm willing to sacrifice for the next 5 years so the next 50 are awesome. Because I also know a lot of people that have spent the last 7 years that I've been in the space fiddling around, flipping coins, and getting nowhere. Don't do that. Plant seeds, let them grow for as long as possible. I rest my case. Let's read some chat. All right. Financial sovereignty or nada? Up? Yep, absolutely. 102 sure does look nice, but 103 would look better. That's right. There's only 2 ways to make a crap ton of money in crap coins. Either put hundreds of thousands in or be part of the pre-mine. There are ways to make money in small cap coins. I'm not saying you can't. I am saying that you have to be careful. I am saying that you need to be careful. All right. Pew pew poom too. Jeb won't get you wrecked out. Yeah. Life-changing seed plants is well said. Y'all forget YouTubers Bank. That makes wealthy investors. If you don't have 90 to 95% in Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, you're doing it wrong. I mean, it's kind of the idea. Yep. Lol, Jeb gonna get you guys wrecked. I don't know. Why do I keep calling XRP Ripple? I'm sorry. If I called it Ripple, I apologize. Ripple's the company, XRP is the coin. Yes, no, that's definitely true. No, Ripple's doing very well, and XRP is going to follow it. Buffett and Munger Classic Scrooge. I don't have a lot of respect for their character. I'm simply saying that they were right on that one investment principle. Let's see. There's a difference between throwing your money into penny stocks and not investing in innovation. Oh, no, absolutely. Buy innovation. I'm totally for buying innovation. I'm also totally for rooting the portfolio in good principles. And one of the good principles is that before you buy something, it ought to be proven. If it's small and proven, then great, buy it. The Bitcoin is proven, and it's a 50th the size of the stock market, right? We're buying small coins when we buy Bitcoin. It's small compared to the stock market. Totally. Let's see. Schmedley B's in chat. Shout out to you. Hey, Jeb, better late than never. Hit that like button. It's free. Absolutely. You cannot bore me, sir. Love hearing the truth over and over, plus spreading the word. Hashtag DCA, hashtag HODL, hashtag Jesus. Yep. Bitcoin long-term, XRP long-term, ETH long-term. Go to the roulette table for short-term gains. Pretty much. Yeah, that's basically what we're talking about here. All right, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's stream. Before we go, I do want to just do a little bit of a recap here. Bitcoin's at $102,200. This is likely going to continue. We've got a very strong buy signal on Luxalgo, bullish flash here on RSI. RSI is extremely bullish down here on the hourly chart. It could not be much more bullish than it is right now. MACD was going to flip bearish, didn't. Luxalgo, our very own crypto Jeb oscillator, is performing very well. Buy signal is looking great. We're above all the moving averages. Bitcoin is basically in blue sky breakout. There's nothing immediately above it to stop it, so I expect that today will be very bullish. I do expect that this month we're going to see $125,000 hit on Bitcoin. I also think that you're probably going to see Ethereum rallying up towards all-time high. By the end of the month, you're probably going to see the cryptocurrency market approaching $4.5 trillion, if not even close to $5 trillion. We'll see. I think you're going to see probably $500 billion at least of inflows this month into Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space collectively. So stay tuned. We're performing very, very well. Really appreciate all of you guys for being here. Make sure to check out our sponsors. Check out LuxAlgo. Check out NordVPN, Uphold. Great companies down there that are going to help keep you safe while you browse online, help you have the best technical analysis at your fingertips, and also make sure that you have a strong hub in the cryptocurrency space. Also, make sure to check out Blowfin. There is a War of the Whale style competition going on over there. You can join in on a $200,000 prize pool if you sign up right now with the link in the description box down below. Start trading. You can get access to a lot of those rewards. In fact, if we just come over here real quick, I can show you. Blowfin is performing very, very well. Check this out. Let's see. Yep. So here you go. 2025 Become a Whale $200,000 challenge. There's 14 days left. There's already been $562 million of trading volume, which means there's $40,000 of prize pools unlocked. There are several people with thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars coming to them in prize pools. So make sure that you sign up with our link down below. Join our team and get access to this prize pool today, because basically, there's a lot of money to be made. If you're trading Bitcoin, the place to do it is Blowfin. The person to do it under is us. It helps to support the channel. So if you want to support the channel, this is one of the biggest ways you can do it. Make sure to check it out with the link down below. If you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But before we go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh,